Hey guys, we got a great episode today on the HyperFast Agent Show. In this episode, I sit down with Dominic Latella. He has built one of the biggest swim coaching businesses in the greater DC area, and we are going to discuss sales, entrepreneurship, and most importantly, how to blend your passion with a business that works and helps you serve massive amounts of clients. So stay tuned for a great show.
Thanks for being on the show, Dominic. Before we get started, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why you're here today?
I'm here because I know you, and I work with you on your swim for your Ironman stuff. So that's why I'm here. Other than that, I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about, but I'm excited to just hang out and talk. It seems like now, at least for me, most of my conversations with people outside of what I do take place over podcasts. So, and what I do is I'm the owner of Swimbox, a swim lesson facility. We have a location in Sterling, Virginia, and Arlington now, recently opened 2 weeks ago. So it's been a crazy last couple of months to try to get that opened and push to do that. So I've been, running Swimbox now for just coming up on 5 years in July. It'll be 5 years. Before that, I've been basically a swim coach for my entire career. So for 15 years I've been coaching and have decided that I can do two things. I can be an entrepreneur and I can be a swim coach. I don't need to just be one thing. And I think I've always been that way, honestly. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I mean, there's not much behind that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you on. You're one of the first non-real estate,
important.
Not important, but just we mostly have agents, coaches. So this is a new type of addition to the show. But
yeah,
we're obviously not going to teach real estate agents how to swim on this episode.
Right.
But you guys, I think there's a ton that you do on the entrepreneur side that our listeners can learn from, like the marketing. We'll get into that, like the Instagram, what you guys do on your own YouTube podcasts, email marketing, the just overall client satisfaction, because you guys have a demand problem. You have too much of demand. Yeah. Right. So your main gap is finding more people to service the demand and expanding. And I know a couple years ago you switched to the membership model, which is pretty cool. So that
was inspired by you. So partially inspired by you.
Full credit, I think.
You can take full credit. It's fine. I don't mind. I'll give you full credit. I figured it out, but you had the sort of the spark. I was playing. I remember toying with the idea, and actually it probably would have been roughly 2 years from around now, because we were in the Bahamas then.
Yeah, 2 years ago in Hope Town.
And you were like, what about a membership? And I was like, I don't know how that could work. And I sat there for the next 2 weeks and figured it out. So I'll give you some credit for that. Absolutely. I think one of the things that is always surprising to me business-wise for what we do, swimming, most people always think, how can you even make money for something like that? And it's just a reminder that you cannot predict what people are looking for. And so you kind of just have to do what you do best. And the people that connect with that are going to find you. Obviously, you put it out there over marketing and things like that, but you can't try to be someone else. You can't try to be something that you're not. And the very first thing I ever tried doing entrepreneur-wise was actually tried to create I don't want to call it an energy bar, but a bar to consume for endurance athletes. And I failed miserably, terribly. I mean, sucked awfully at it. But the one thing I learned was from this lady who I reached out to, who owned a branding and marketing company in Manhattan. And she took the time out of her very busy schedule to just talk to me over the phone and say, hey, be what you are. If you're just one person running an operation, don't make it look like you're something bigger than you really are. People will appreciate the authenticity of it. And that has stuck with me. That's been, probably over a decade now that I kind of came to that. So that has stuck with me ever since. And it makes us stay true to ourselves and say, well, like we were just talking right before we started recording about Instagram and how we have stalled out on our Instagram numbers at like 16,000 people. All right. First of all, I was shocked to ever get past 2,000 people. It was completely shocking to see it grow and grow and grow and grow. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just keep doing what we're doing because it's who we are. And all we do is try to inform people. And if people want that information, they can come and they'll find us. And apparently they did. At least 16,000 people did. Right?
And then it stopped.
And then it stopped. And that's okay. Because I didn't expect more than that anyway. So we're just going to keep doing our thing. Obviously, maybe the information isn't connecting as it used to. So maybe we need to go back and make sure that we're writing a clear message and consistent with our message. But beyond that, I don't have plans to just throw in the towel and say, fine, I'm going to start posting memes. No offense. Right? But that's not what we do on our Instagram. We don't do that. So why would we start now just to get followers? I don't think that's the way that I want to operate as an entrepreneur or a business owner. I think from the very beginning, it has always been to inform people. So that's what my Instagram channel was initially, and that's what it is going to remain to the day that it dwindles down to just one follower. It'd probably be just me left following my own channel. So
what happened with the energy bar? 'Cause there's a lot of good stuff there that we can dive into. But failure, I think, is what really makes entrepreneurs become successful eventually. And like you have to go through that.
Yeah.
In some shape or form. You know, you might not have to fail at what you ultimately succeed at, but most entrepreneurs fail at something first, and that shapes the success that they later have.
I've never, and I say this all the time, I have never gained success in anything without failing first, and that's on a day-to-day basis. You know, so the bar really just, I was not diligent with research. I wasn't diligent with negotiating prices. I just accepted everything as it was and was like, okay, that sounds good. Okay, that works. I didn't fight for anything. I didn't like question anything. And I think part of it was because I was inexperienced and I didn't have the confidence in myself. But at the same time, I just spent money on things that made me look bigger than what I really was. I spent too much time on that and not enough time on the actual product and not enough time on actually kind of coming together with what that product was meant to fill, that gap in the market. And so I just kind of thought, oh, if I had nice looking branding, that would work. Well, it was obviously very naive of me, but it was just overspending, not really knowing the market that I was getting into, and then just not necessarily being a business person. You know, like I didn't really operate like someone that wanted to make money. I operated like someone that wanted to get something done. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's like a fine line.
I think the interesting point there too is something that a lot of solo real estate agents struggle with is the point about not pretending to be bigger than you are. And a lot of solo agents and people that are just starting out, you might be competing against an experienced agent or team like us, and you need to embrace like who you authentically are and communicate that to the client as an advantage. Like the way to beat me or our team in a listing appointment is to go in and say like, look, I don't have a lot of clients. I don't have as many as Dan and Keri.
Right.
But you're going to get me all in. Like they could screw up this listing and still have a track record of 7 other homes that they sold this year. They're going to be okay. But if I mess up like one of a couple, like I may be out of business. So you're going to get me and I'm going to be all in. And
right.
Like that's how you do it. Like embrace where you are.
And I think I got into that energy bar stuff for the wrong reasons. I got into it because I thought it was a good business to get into, not because I was necessarily passionate about it or that I had a particular point of view that was, different than the rest of the point of views. And that's where, like, I've always been a swim coach my full career. And so getting into the swimming business was something I was very passionate about and I could be my authentic self about. And just the other day, one of my new clients said, I always hear how you're the man, you're going to teach me how to swim. I've tried to learn how to swim from several different people, but I'm told you're the guy that's going to do it because you know better than everyone else and you're an expert. And I said, well, I don't know better than everyone else. What makes me different is I can connect with you. I only look to connect with my clients because then I can understand what it is I need them to take away from every sort of lesson or experience we have together. If I can get into the head of that individual client, then I know I'm going to teach them the thing they want to learn because then I can know how to say things. I know how to interact with them. But I couldn't have done that without taking a step back and saying, hey, who you are, Dominic, is someone that cares. And I'm going to care more than any other swim coach out there. And I could say that's the same for any real estate agent as well, right?
So let's set some context to this. Like you said, Swimbox started 5 years ago, and and for those of you who don't know what the Swimbox, and hopefully I'm describing it right. Maybe
I'll stop you if you're not.
Christian can throw up some B-roll of people swimming in the Swimbox to understand. But you have this box, literally this box. I think it's endless pools.
It's endless pools. Yep.
Yeah. So you can dial up the current. If you want to swim a 130 or 130
1 minute and 30 second pace. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, if you want to swim that pace, you dial the current up to that, and that allows you as the teacher to watch them from multiple angles. You got mirrors on the bottom, the top. You can stick a camera under there.
Film a lot. Yeah,
and you can have them swim for a minute and then watch replay, give instant feedback, and it's just you can't replicate that in a pool, and pool time is hard and all that. So Swimbox kind of solves that issue. So it's been 5 years of Swimbox. How long have you been coaching though overall?
15 years.
Okay, and what was your coaching like? How did you get into coaching before?
So in college, I had to have surgery on both of my shoulders because of swimming. And it could have been prevented. And I know that now, and I knew that right after college. And it could have been prevented through better knowledge from my coaches, knowledge of technique and movement. And so I decided that I was going to go into coaching to make sure that whatever happened to me wasn't going to happen to anyone else. And I was going to try to help anybody that wanted to swim, whether it's swim faster or just learn how to swim, or if it's swim with a new injury, even to the extent of if a new limb has been removed or a limb has been, not a new limb, a limb has been removed, I'm going to help those people. And so I made that my coaching mission statement. And I think it's important for everyone to have sort of a personal mission statement, whether it's for business or for themselves, because it just reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing. Because I know for a fact, you're going to wake up on a morning and not want to go do your job. You're going to be tired. You're going to feel beaten down. You're going to feel completely drained. And you're going to be like, why am I getting up to go show this house? I don't really care. Well, remind yourself of the reason what your mission is. And it instantly sparks you to go, because I'm going to make sure whatever my mission statement is fulfilled. And so that was the start of my coaching career. I started right out of college. Basically took a month off after college. I moved down to the Bahamas, coached down there for 2 years. That's why we take the training trip down there. And then I moved up to this area. And it was a little rough at first. I did not like it here at first. I thought that it was crazy. I had to get in a car to go everywhere. I just was not used to that. And I was like, this is not going to be for me. And then I started to realize that once I was in one place for an extended period of time, that I had a reputation, and then I had a following, and then I could actually build off of that following and build a business and build something great.
This was before you were Swimbox.
Yes,
coach, right?
This is well before that. And so at some point, I was offered a dream job in Manhattan, and I took that dream job, and it was a coaching job up there at Asphalt Green. and I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. I thought it was great. I could have lived there indefinitely. But I moved back down because I was trying to save my former marriage, and that's when things got really interesting. And it was that sort of adversity that I think got me to this point, was because I moved back down without any plans. I did not know what I was going to do for a job. I just moved back down to try to save that marriage. Turned out, didn't work. However, what did work, for the best it didn't work, what did work was this idea that I had in Manhattan, which was, I wonder if I can create a swim school and have people interested in something like private swim lessons. Because I knew in Manhattan there is a culture for private lessons. You want to learn anything there, you take a private lesson. You want to learn better math skills, take a private lesson. You want to learn violin, take a lesson. You want to learn how to swim better, take a private lesson. I wasn't sure that same culture existed here in Northern Virginia. So I did some light market testing in a way that I learned how to do it, which was start small, always make money. All right, you don't have to make a lot of money, but if you're going to spend your time doing something, try to make money doing it. So I was just doing private swim lessons out of a rec center. And then all of a sudden, I just got so busy with private lessons, I had to back off my other coaching duties. And all of a sudden, I was like, wait, I can charge more money. I'm so busy. I need to charge more money. I started charging more money. And then I started to save that money, and I put it towards opening the first location. Now we're on technically our third location, but down to 2 now. So it's a long process, but I think it's also a lot going on that from the outside, you say, oh, we've been open for 5 years. Well, it took me probably 10 years to get to that point. And maybe I think it was probably 3 years from the idea or the concept of Swimbox before it came to fruition. So
no, I think you see that a lot. Like people that, if it looks like they had success quickly, they spent 5 or 10 years, and maybe not in the exact format, but in some other area there was a problem they were struggling with, or adversity they were going through, either personal or professional or all the above, and that struggle, in those areas often leads to quicker success in the area you eventually do.
Right. It's just that it's that fail thing, right? You go, oh, I'm going to move back down here, and I don't have any options. I got to make options now, and now I'm of the mindset that I would never work for anyone ever again, because I will always make an option for myself no matter what happens. So
yeah, the other cool part of your story really is seeing the connection of passion on one hand and entrepreneurship, business skills on the other, because a lot of people struggle with that balance. And I've had tons of different, fitness, triathlon, running, swim coaches, and there's tons of people that have the skill, the passion, they're good at it, but then most of them are terrible at the business side, terrible, and they never quite figure that out, and they never can really expand it or grow it.
Yeah, I became aware of that concept through the E-Myth. Have you ever read that book?
Yeah, Michael Gerber.
Yeah, right, where he was talking about clinicians aren't always good business people. And that's so true. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I perceive myself as a clinician that needs to learn more about business. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years, just learning as much as I can about business and applying what I can, when I can, where I can. And I fail sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I think one of my biggest failures with Swimbox was I was trying to introduce in the membership the people wearing Whoop straps. All right, you know what a Whoop strap is?
Yeah, it's an advanced Fitbit kind of.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's a wearable that tracks HRV and all those things. And I thought, oh, this is such a cool device. It can really help my membership clients. I'll be able to track what they're doing. I'll be able to see how hard they're working, when they're working, how well they're sleeping, when they're consuming too much alcohol. I'll be able to adjust my lessons based on
Whoop knows if you drink alcohol?
Yeah.
How the hell does it do that?
HRV. So it doesn't outright say, oh, you must have had a drink.
Yeah,
but
what's HRV?
Heart rate. It's your heart rate variability.
Okay.
So it's a measurement basically of how inflamed your sort of veins become. Okay. So it's a weird measurement. And it's all done.
Does my Garmin tell me that?
It might.
Yeah.
It should. If it's a good Garmin, it should. Which I only expect the best from you.
Right.
So, But yeah, if you have a drink, your HRV will just plummet. It will be terrible. So you can start kind of picking up those trends in your clients. And I thought, oh, this would be such a cool thing. And so I dropped like almost 10 grand on them. I bought a whole bunch of them, like in preparation. And then it didn't work so well. Like people wouldn't wear them. They would fall off in the pool. They would break easily. Well, yeah, because by the time you were like got around to, it was like, this isn't worth it. This isn't helping at all. But before I could actually try to get some money recouped, they changed their model. So now they have a membership model where before it was just you bought one and you got to use all these different features. And now you have to become a member of theirs to use these features. And all my whoops are basically pointless.
Right. Help to build someone else's
right. So it's like
platform.
And so I've learned a couple of things, obviously. But the most important thing I learned from that was technology can never be the answer. It can't be what drives business necessarily. All right. It can be a tool to be used to support, but it can't be a driving force. And it's kind of funny that I learned that lesson because I also just finished rereading Good to Great, Jim Collins.
Yep.
I love this is like the third time that I read it. And for whatever reason, I know the reason now because I've done something to make a mistake that he talks about making, which is not relying on technology to grow your business to greatness. So that's where I'm at with that now, right? So it's like there's so many good books written out there that we can kind of read over and over and over and over again and pick up from like the E-Myth and Jim Collins, Good to Great, things like that. So,
yeah, I think, another like just key lesson from, I've seen from you is this, you've got the passion for it, obviously very, very good at that. So that provides, great service to your clients, which creates the demand. Right, it creates the line at your door, but unless you have the business side of it, this will eventually fail because you're either gonna not be able to deliver or not be able to scale to deliver. So, I know 2 years ago you switched to the membership model, which I think has helped. You've added new locations. Now you've got the challenge of recruiting instructors,
which we solved, by the way.
So you have more
the
on the
stupidest solution ever. I could not believe this worked. All we did was put a job posting page on our website. How simple is that? I was like racking my brain for like the most complicated ways to find instructors.
Were you, like, doing LinkedIn, Craigslist,
like LinkedIn,
ads.
Running ads. Not Craigslist. I just don't trust Craigslist. I don't know who uses Craigslist anymore.
We've gotten quite a bit of people.
That's crazy. It's great. Awesome.
So
good for you.
If you're a realtor, use Craigslist for job ads. But put it on your website too. Put your positions.
Yeah.
Even if you're not necessarily hiring yet, like develop the bench and
that's what it was. It was almost an experiment. We didn't know if that was going to work. We were like, well, it doesn't cost us anything to put another page on our website. Let's just put it up there. It worked with other things. Let's just put it up there. And the first 3 weeks that we had it up, we had 2 inquiries from people that wanted to instruct for us, and we've hired them both. They were both top notch. So I was trying to figure out the most complicated way, but sometimes it's the simplest thing. It's that really obvious thing that is staring you in the face that you don't see, and you go, well, let's just try it.
What do you think the key will be to bringing on new instructors and then having them have the same passion, commitment, care for the client as you? How do you transfer that?
Going back to Good to Great, right? You can't teach discipline, right? Same thing. You can't teach passion. You have to hire discipline and passion. So we've come up with a lot of different questions during interviews.
Like what?
It's weird because it usually pertains to swimming,
right?
But we usually ask about, if they have a personal mission statement. I would say of the last 6 interviews we've had, none of them have a mission statement.
Yeah,
which it's
I don't.
Why would I have a mission statement?
Right.
Well, you should. All right. That's what's going to get you motivated on those hard times. We ask things like sort of their work habits. What they do on their spare time. That's a usually good indication. And I've even gone as far to ask people what their parents do for a living. You know, if someone grew up on a farm, more than likely they're going to have a really good work ethic, right? They're going to be very dedicated people usually. So it's like trying to find out more about them to say, well, are there things that they're showing, stereotypically showing, that would lead to me believing they have passion and, you know, are just disciplined people.
What do you look for in the like? What do you do in your spare time? Like that. Like, what kind of answers do you get, and what are you looking for?
I'm looking for people that in their spare time don't destroy themselves. I don't want to hear, oh, in my spare time I get wasted and then I spend my day off completely hungover. And
no one's gonna say that in a job interview, right?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Really?
Well, you can also tell. You can tell when someone's like trying to think of a way to say it in a way that doesn't sound terrible. Like, oh, yeah, I go out with my friends every once in a while. Okay, well, when you go out with your friends, what do? You just keep asking questions, and you'll get to the bottom of it. You'll eventually get there. So the skill of asking questions is very important in general, but it's also very important in understanding if someone is going to be passionate, if someone is going to have dedication and discipline.
Yeah.
So
no, there's a lot of, I guess there's examples of things that are destructive, then there's probably examples of things that are just time wasters. And like, I get asked a lot of times, how do you run multiple business, 3 kids, train for an Ironman? And I looked up the other day, average adult American spends 35.6 hours a week watching TV.
Yeah.
Which is like a whole nother work week.
Yeah.
Which is like insane.
You have 2 jobs. Sit on your ass and watch TV and do your day 9 to 5. That's 2 jobs basically.
Yeah. No, I agree with, that's a great question. We're going to add that if we don't have that.
And you know,
like you want to look for someone that's like, well, I volunteer here, or I train for this, or
my favorite question or answer,
stuff that they're investing in themselves.
I like to play board games. If someone says they play board games, you're good with me, because that means you're doing some thinking, you're figuring out problems, you're enjoying yourself, and you're spending time with people. That's really important. Like, people that want to spend time with other people are the type of people I want to hire, because that means that they're going to feel connected with their clients. They're going to want to be connected with us, and they're not going to try to hide. They're not going to try to have 2 different lives. So I like the answer of I play board games. And also, one of the things that we do at Swimbox, because the way it works or functions, it can be very solitary, right? It's one instructor, one client. A lot of times people are there by themselves. You know that because you come in and you always ask where Alyssa is, my lovely wife, who owns the business with me, and she's never there when you're there. So I'm always there with you.
What does she do?
She works from home, apparently. She's going to listen to this, and I'm going to get hit, probably. But it's I think can be a very solitary lifestyle to sometimes coach privately like that. So we are trying to build in one Wednesday a month where we go and play board games together, because it's an opportunity to understand how each other thinks and make decisions, and to also give each other a hard time, but in a playful, meaningful way. That's not like, why does he always take the shit out on me? Where I can make fun of someone for something they did in a board game and it's not consequential to anything. Make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's building the culture, team building. I love it. Before we wrap up, let's switch to the marketing side, because you guys, for the average athletic training, industry, like, you guys do some pretty cool stuff on marketing now.
Yeah.
Instagram's your biggest focus, right?
Yep. So we focus a lot on Instagram only because of the ease. For what we do, it's very visual. So it's easy to put those visuals up on Instagram and then talk about what they are.
And what's the account? It's at the handles at.
It should be swim_box.
Swim_box if you're listening. On Instagram.
Whether you're a swimmer or not, whether you follow us or not, go check it out, and you can at least see what we're doing and get an understanding. And I can see how what we do can definitely cross over to other industries. Like I said before, we're trying to inform people. We're not necessarily just trying to get likes. If we get likes, great. If not, okay, whatever. We put our information out there, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
And what did you guys do to grow it? Like, how did you start it, and describe the growth of that?
The growth, it's one of those things where when you first start and you look at everything else around, like you look at some other Instagram account that has like, 10,000 followers. You're like, how did they get there? There's no way they did that organically. They had somebody help. They're buying their likes or whatever, right? Well, turns out you can get there organically, because that's what we did. All we did was have a formula. Our formula was, we're going to film a snippet of every lesson, or just about, we'll say 2 or 3 lessons in a day, because we typically do like 16 lessons in a day.
My last one wasn't put on the gram.
Well, it was
disappointing.
Well,
Lissa.
Maybe if Lissa shows up. And so we tried to say, okay, here's our formula. We're going to take a picture or a short video, and we're going to explain why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then we just stayed true to that. And all of a sudden, people started to message us and say, oh, your tips are helping me achieve my goal. And that's all we want to do. So we just stay focused. I think we just stay true to what we want to do and not try to be like a clever fox and do all these little different things here and there. And I think it just keeps us authentic. And the same thing, one of the things that we've done is create some content for bigger, at that time, bigger accounts, like Endless Pools themselves. Since we used their product, we had a great relationship with them, where we would make videos for them, and they would put it on their Instagram, they would put it on their YouTube, and we would gain some additional followers that way. But really, what we try to do, whatever we produce content-wise, we funnel it through all of our different media content. So, for instance, if we do a podcast, Lissa she'll write up sort of the notes of the podcast, so it can become a blog post now. There's the video of the podcast on YouTube, and there's also the audio version. So now we've generated a blog post, YouTube video, and audio that we can always refer to and always link to in different social media aspects. So I don't necessarily believe people will follow social media to social media. So if you follow us on Facebook and we put something out there on Facebook and say, oh, go check out our Instagram account, I don't necessarily believe that's going to convert into someone following us on Instagram and Facebook. But we put it out there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I don't see a lot of turnover from that type of thing. But it's content that is king, in that the more consistent you are in putting content out, like for instance, like I said, we did 2 to 3 posts per lesson or per day. So we can consistently be posting. So people knew that it was an active account. And it's the same thing with podcasts. I don't know if you've experienced this at all, but if you take a break for 2 weeks, your sort of audience dwindles.
Have we ever taken a break, Christian? No.
Don't take breaks. Always produce content.
Yeah, we're always 2 to 3 episodes a week.
That's awesome. So it's just a matter of being consistent. I think consistency actually plays a huge role in gaining followers. You can't piecemeal it or half-ass it. If you're going to go in, you got to go in.
No, a lot of good stuff there. Like, you got to be consistent. Repurpose it for multiple platforms as much as you can. And then the other thing is just focus on documenting and teaching. Like, that's Keri V talks a lot about that. Like, and this applies to real estate agents. If you just document yourself, your typical day, or what it takes to help a buyer get from the initial meeting to closing, what it takes to initial meeting to getting sold for a seller, and document that stuff and provide education along the way, it's gonna get you in front of more buyers and sellers. Like, same concept.
Part of being a teacher of any kind is repetition as well, and I think that's where a lot of people stall out on social media, because they feel like they're going to be repetitive. Because, I got to make another post about whatever. It's the same thing that I posted about last week. But that's life. It's repetition. I would say in my previous marriage, I bought a townhouse with that person. Well, I don't know how. It's been so long since then, I wouldn't know how to go through the process of buying another one. So just because I've done it once doesn't mean I know the process. And I think it's a point of, if someone was informing me through repetition, I would know it. Does that make sense? So I would also suggest people don't be afraid to repeat themselves. Maybe you change the way you phrase it, But don't be afraid to repeat yourself. I repeat myself every day.
You need as social media posts do not last long. I mean, a blog or a YouTube or a podcast are kind of long-lived. Everything else, it's like the lifespan is like from 14 minutes to a tweet to like 24 hours for Instagram. It's like gone. So you need to repeat.
And it's hard, I think, on the individual posting because it's fresh in their mind. And so they don't have the same perspective as the audience. They have a different perspective. And so they think the audience is going to sort of revolt if you repeat things. But they're too busy sitting on their couch for 36 hours a day to a week, sorry.
36 hours is a lot for one day.
That would be more than a day, a week, to remember these things or to take note of these things. And a couple of years ago, probably like 5 years ago, I got really into Reddit. I really enjoy Reddit as a social media platform.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoy it, actually. I don't really post on it. I lurk, all right? But it used to really piss me off when people would repost things. And then I realized, not everyone is on here every single day. Not everyone is paying attention to the same things I'm paying attention to at this time.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a rerun of a TV show. So it's like, I remember when I was a kid and I didn't have a DVR. If I caught a rerun that I didn't see previously, it was like the best. Or if I caught a rerun that I really liked, it was even better. Well, repeating your posts is also the same thing. Repeating your content, it's the same thing. So don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
No, I mean, yeah.
It really is easy.
People need to hear it over and over again.
There is no secret.
And they might not be on Instagram on Mondays or Tuesdays. Right? So there's nothing wrong with it.
The only platform I've struggled with is Twitter. I cannot get a handle on Twitter.
It's 14 minutes.
It's
the average lifespan of a tweet.
It's
14
just
minutes.
For me, I can't be on it as much.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I think the atmosphere of Twitter is very political, and I'm talking about swimming. You know,
right.
I'm not talking about politics, and so we don't really seem to connect with the same right people.
To Trump or Hillary, or
I try to
somehow.
Yeah, I'll work on that. So like that's been the only obstacle as far as social media. I feel like, and maybe we need to run more ads for our YouTube and things like that. Like we've gotten some really nice comments on YouTube, which is bizarre considering it's the Wild West.
Yeah, I think more people could actually, in a lot of different industries, could benefit from more YouTube ads because the Facebook, Instagram platform is a lot easier to run ads on.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it before, so I think more people are just more comfortable doing it there.
Okay.
So I think over on the YouTube side of it, there's just more of an opportunity because less people are playing in it.
Yeah, it would make sense because we get some good viewership numbers on YouTube, but some of our comments are like, this video should have 1 million views. This is a great video. But for whatever reason, there's no traction. And it's I have to assume it's partly their sort of, what am I blanking on here? Algorithm.
Yeah.
That's the word. That's why I keep you around, Dan. So that algorithm where, for whatever reason, it's just not getting traction. So maybe you need to run more ads on YouTube to gain that traction. But it's something like we're trying to work our way through. We're figuring it out. Nothing's ever solved completely. Everything always needs to be reevaluated, in my opinion. I don't think there's ever a definitive answer on these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up with the HyperFast round.
Oh God!
If you're ready, this is the first. This is like the first time we've done the HyperFast round with a non-real estate person.
Does this mean I'm gonna like completely fail?
It's just a quick.
Okay.
Quick questions, quick answers. Are you ready?
I'll try to be quick.
What is the biggest business mistake you've ever made?
That's a good one. The biggest mistake I ever made was not defining expectations in contracts with contractors, which sounds vague because it is vague, but
you mean people building stuff
right.
For
us, like not setting time time periods or deadlines, not having the expectation of what needs to be done when and how quickly it needs to be done, and putting our foot down with that. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that we've learned from. Just because as we open more and more locations, we're going to have to be more and more strict about these things. So it costs us time and money to not be strict about it.
What's been your biggest marketing success?
There was a controversial Instagram post, controversial not because of anything I perceived to be controversial, but we had a picture of a young lady swimming butterfly from above, and I had a parachute on her head. There's a swimming parachute, all right? And I know you've swum with me pulling on your head before, but if people don't understand what they're seeing, they think it's bad. And there was a lack of understanding, but it went viral because so many people commented on it, and actually some people really liked it. So it went viral, and all of a sudden we had all these followers one day. And we were like, whoa, how did that happen? So
the butterfly parachute picture.
Yeah.
What's your biggest piece of advice for an entrepreneur or salesperson starting out?
Grind. It's going to suck. You're going to fail. You're going to be told no. Accept it. You know, the faster you can pick yourself up and move forward, the more successful you're going to be. It's those who fail and stay down that fail completely. So expect to fail, pick yourself up, move on.
All right. Great stuff. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It's been a pleasure being on.
If people want to get in touch with you or follow you on social media, what's the best way for people to get in touch?
They can find us on Instagram, swim_box on Instagram. If you just Google Swimbox, you're going to find us. But if people want to reach out to me directly, I always give out my email address on our podcast. So I'll give it out here too. It's Dominic, DOMINIC, @theswimbox.com. Swimbox.com was already taken by somebody, unfortunately.
And the website is
theswimbox.com.
theswimbox.com. All right. Well, thanks for being on the HyperFast Agent Show. I'll see you next time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you want 100 real estate tips from my best-selling book, click right here to download them instantly. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And leave some comments about what you think on the videos. I read them all each week, and I select winners to give out hats, shirts, coaching calls with me, and tickets to some of our events. I'll see you next time.